Well,
I know a lot of you
or B,
have struggled with burnout recently, or maybe you're still in burnout.
With Android,
for me, it's always been this time of year, pretty
enroll in
much, if it happens, and it doesn't just happen in business, it happens in life.
me for
So,
an OG, then
let
it'll
me mute
say
everybody then.
deny. Well,
Okay, that should be good. Turn y'all's cameras on. Where are your faces? I need to see y'all's faces. Okay. All right. So, first thing is, first thing is, I want to talk a little bit about burnout and how to deal with it, how to avoid it, just some things to think about when it comes to burnout. A lot of us will tell Ed he is loud. I did hear something earlier, but I couldn't hear it when I got back on here. Anyway, it tends to happen this time of year for me personally. I don't know about y'all. Maybe it happens for you multiple times throughout the year. It used to happen for me multiple times throughout the year until I really changed the way I worked. Started being like a lot more focused on being intentional with what I was doing instead of trying to do a bazillion things and not doing them well, and then just overworking myself and not sticking to my boundaries and trying to do everything for everybody and all those things. It has really helped me to fix that. And this, I feel like 2020 was a year that like everybody was burnt out the whole year. It was just rough. I don't know if y'all feel that way, but I do. And it was just hard. It was a lot of change. It was a lot of just craziness. Nothing was normal. And for some of you watching this, you may still be in a place where things are still not normal and things are still crazy. So hopefully this will help if you're still in that situation as well. But I wanted to go over, first of all, how I deal with burnout, what helps me, and especially if you're in burnout still right now from the holidays or whatever it is. But also something as leaders that we really have to think about and be aware of is our team goes through the same thing. And if, first of all, if we're burnt out and drained and exhausted, then they're probably burnt out, drained, and exhausted as well, because you are reflecting onto your team, how you feel, the way you come across, the things you're saying, the way you're saying them comes across to your team. And it really does affect everything, whether you think so or not. You can usually look at your numbers and see that it is. But a lot of people tend to, you'll be burnt out yourself, but you're expecting your team to do all the things instead of thinking like, they're probably in the same situation. How can I help them get through this? What can I do for them instead of, why are they not working? Nobody's working. Like, I know we've all said that. So, first of all, with burnout, for me, in my opinion, the most important thing to do is to keep going, not to sit and pity yourself and feel sorry for yourself and stop. It's okay to rest. It's okay to recharge and all of that. And we'll talk about that, but it's not okay to stop taking care of yourself. It's not okay to stop your personal development. It's not okay to stop, those things you're doing to take care of yourself and your mental health and and show your team like this is what you should be doing. And that consistency that needs to continue. I don't care if you feel like poo and you have no motivation or anything, keep doing the things, keep putting yourself first, your mental health, if you work out in the mornings like I do, if you do a devotional, if you read your Bible, if you go on a walk, if you meditate, like I don't know what you do, whatever you do to keep your mind right, and whatever you do for personal development and personal growth is something you absolutely cannot leave out as a leader. So it starts there. It starts with continuing all those things. Do not stop those things. You will get out of the burnout. You just have to keep on trucking through it. So that's the first thing, is just keep doing what you know you need to do. Keep taking care of yourself, because you have to come first. Keep taking care of yourself. Recognize that you're in that, and be aware of, be aware of your emotions, be aware of how you're feeling, be aware that I'm not okay. And, that's the first step to realizing, or to being able to change it and fix it, is recognizing that it's there and saying, okay, I'm not okay right now. I need to figure this out. So recognize it first of all, and then reflect on it and figure out what needs to change. What is stressing you out? What was the root cause of this? Think about, this is huge for me. So every catalog season, so about every 6 months, I redo everything. I throw away everything that I'm not using, that's not serving me in my business, that I'm not going to use going forward, that I don't use. Clutter. Anything that is cluttering my space is cluttering my mind. And that's like a scientifically proven thing. Like and some people are worse than others, but I cannot work in chaos. I cannot function when it's cluttered, it just clutters my mind. So I throw away everything I'm not using. I do a big purge every 6 months. And the less space you have too, like, you need to have the most simple systems in place. You need to have everything accessible. You need to have it organized. You need to have nothing unnecessary. You don't need anything around you that you're not using. But I purge everything, and it's like a clean slate at that point. I redo my dream board. I reevaluate my goals. And the biggest thing, not just reevaluating your goals, the biggest thing is reevaluating your purpose and your mission and what you're doing this for, not just your why. I talked about this yesterday on the training I did, not yesterday, Tuesday. If you didn't listen to that, it's on my YouTube channel. You need to listen to it. But I keep losing my train of thought this morning. I don't know why. Rethink your mission. This is why I have notes. Keep me on track. Rethink your mission and why you're doing this. And when you really think about the fact that this is not about me, this is about other people. And if I'm sitting here feeling sorry for myself and not showing up for my business, I'm not serving anybody else. I'm not helping anyone. I'm not giving value to anyone else. I'm not helping anyone. I'm not making an impact. I'm not being a positive influence. Your mission and your purpose has to be, helping others, helping, no matter in what form, way, shape, or form that is, or if it's in multiple forms. Your team needs you, first of all. Your team needs you. Your customers deserve you and your time, and you taking care of them and not leaving them hanging out to dry, and not communicating with them and not letting them know about new things just because you don't feel like it. They deserve your time and your care. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to go somewhere else. Same with your team. They're going to go somewhere else. If you don't have a sticky culture, they're going to go find another leader. They're going to go to somebody else and say, hey, can I change sponsors? Like, it's just going to happen. So anyway, reevaluate your purpose and your mission. Really think about, why am I doing this? What is my purpose here? And reevaluate your work-life balance and your boundaries. So, you need to figure out, do I have balance right now? What am I doing too much of that's stressing me out? Am I working outside of my hours? Am I letting this take over? Why am I letting it take over? Like, what is going on that I can dig myself out of this? What's stressing me out? What stressors can I delegate or eliminate completely, or temporarily eliminate? Like, if you're already so behind this month that you can't even think straight, don't send out team mail if that's something you do. Don't send out customer thank you mail if that's something you do. Those things are so time consuming. Just regroup, communicate with your team, send out a quick email for recognition, text your customers, you're following up with them, you're building relationships, whatever, and move on. Go back to the income producing things. That is the foundation of your business. Book parties, join conversations, book parties, join conversations, book parties, join conversations. Those are the things. I had a coaching call with someone yesterday, and we talked about it. She's a director. We talked about it, like, as leaders, we get caught up in everyone else and helping everyone else and doing all the things for everyone else. And we forget about our personal business. And then we start to see our business tank, or we start to see that our group's not growing, or we start to see that I'm not being paid at title, or I'm not getting that promotion. It goes back to you. You're too caught up in all that, and you're not thinking about, am I even recruiting? Am I even doing parties? Am I even, networking? It starts there, and we all know that, but you get caught up in that leadership aspect. So you have to be willing to go back to the basics and think about your personal business and make sure you're putting those things first. If you're not having joint conversations as a leader and you're not partying as a leader, like I'm starting today with getting February booked because I'm slacking on the party area. So revamp things, it's refreshing. And we talked about this last month, but rest. You need to allow yourself rest. You should not be working 24/7. You should not be working outside of your boundaries, with exceptions of random times when things are a little busier. Maybe there's a joint special. Transition month is the perfect example. Transition month, there's more work to do. But it needs to be communicated. Like if you have a significant other, it needs to be communicated with them that you're going to work that night. Like those kind of things, it needs to be communicated. And it needs to be done strategically. You only need to be doing those things that have to be done outside of your hours. So anyway, hustle and hard work. This is something I've learned pretty recently, the difference in hustle and hard work. And it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle. And it's such a culture especially in our job, such a culture. The hustle culture is like, it's almost like you're looked at like you're not working hard if you're not hustling, but they're two different things. And that's what Kristen has really taught me. And so that's what I'm going to teach y'all about the differences. And this is going to be an eye-opener for probably every single one of y'all. Every single one of you is going to take something away from this because there's just so much good stuff. So anyway, hustle and hard work are different, and something I never really realized. We all have a good work ethic, and we all have probably hustled, or we are currently in that state right now. Yes, we are canceling the hustle in 2022, and I canceled the hustle in 2021. Like I became so much more intentional about my boundaries, what I was doing, being very aware of, am I overworking myself? And if I am, I'm going to sit my butt down and I'm going to worry about it tomorrow. And I'm not going to sit here and try to stay up at all hours of the night and then still try to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to work out. Like last night, I did this. I felt like I was behind. I felt like I needed to work last night. And I told my husband, no, I've been tired. I was being very aware of my feelings, how I feel. Told him I've been tired. I haven't been able to get up in the morning, so we've been going to bed later. We're in the process of moving. Things are crazy. And I know that I have to come first, and I have to get up and I have to take care of my mental health and do that workout. That's my mental health care. So what did I do? I went to bed at a decent time. I did not work last night. I restructured my Thursday and Friday tasks, and I got up at 6 o'clock this morning and I took care of myself first. We have to do that. We have to do that. So, the main difference in hard work and hustle is the energy that you have at the end of your day after you've worked. Do you feel energized after you work, or do you feel exhausted? I want you to think about that. And you can type it in the chat if you want to, but do you feel energized or do you feel exhausted after a week of work or after a day of work? If you feel exhausted, you're not doing it right. You need to, at the end of a productive, intentional work day, with proper boundaries, you should feel energized. You should feel fulfilled. You should feel joy. Like, you should feel positive feelings. You should feel satisfied knowing that you worked hard and you can walk away. You can walk away from your phone. You can walk away from your office. Because we all know if you work at home, it's hard to just leave your office in there and go on about your evening. But you can get yourself to a place where you can do that. And like my office, I can't close the door to my office. There is no door. It's right here in our living area. I just have to walk out of it and forget work. And I can do that because I know that I worked hard that day. I know I did what I needed to do. And I know my family is important to me. And I know I can walk away and I can go on about the rest of my day to not think about work. So hard work leaves you energized, satisfied, fulfilled. Hustle leaves you exhausted. So if you're exhausted, it's a problem. We got into this, pretty sure all of us got into this, to be able to have freedom, to be able to have choices, to be able to have flexibility to work Cincy into our lives and not have it control our lives. And it can very easily become controlling and take over, especially all of us are directors and above. We have big teams. We have a lot of people who are looking to us. We have a lot of people who are always taking from us. It can easily become that way. So you have to be very, very aware. This is why systems and sustainability are so important. Systems create sustainability. They create consistency. They create, well, consistency and sustainability is what they create. And y'all have heard me say before, do less better. And that goes back to this. Like, this is something I learned last year. Instead of trying to put 18 tasks on my to-do list for the day, focus on 3. Focus on 3 income producing tasks and do those better. Do them well. Do them exceptionally well versus trying to do 18 things and be stressed out at the end of the day. So it helps you to do less better when you have systems and sustainability and consistency. If you don't have systems, first of all, that's a problem because you're a director or a star director or a superstar director listening to this. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're listening to the recording on YouTube. If you're a leader, period, if you don't have systems in place, you need to take as long as it takes you, a day, 2 days, to get systems in place, to figure out what your purpose is and your mission before you can move forward. Because if you don't have all that, there's not going to be any consistency. There's not going to be any commitment. There's not going to be any discipline. It's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be a rough ride. So, going to hustle. So like I said, the main difference in hustle and hard work, what I've learned is the energy that it produces, the energy you have at the end of the day. Here's some things that you can evaluate to try and figure out if you're in hustle mode. Maybe you're not in hustle mode right now, but these are things you need to take with you throughout the year. And if you start to feel like you're doing too much, you're starting to get on the edge of burnout, you're starting to feel, I'll go into it more. It'll make more sense when I get through this. So how to know you're in hustle mode. First thing is you're making it too much about you. If you're saying all the time, I have to do this, I need to do this, I should be doing this, like I need to do this and this and this and this, I'm going to kick it into high gear and I'm going to work my butt off and then I'll rest later. Like that is hustle and that creates burnout. So that's what I say about systems and sustainability. If you have systems and sustainability and boundaries, and you're being consistent with those things, instead of taking 3 days or 1 week that you are just going, it's totally different. It creates balance. It creates calmness, I guess you would say, in your business when you have that structure and those systems in place, and you're not trying to rush and kill yourself and, stay on your team, like worrying about what they're doing or not doing and like staying on them, checking in with them like at the last minute, trying to be like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like systems and sustainability. It all goes back to that. if you're feeling like you're desperate, you're feeling like there's a bunch of pressure, you're anxious, you're stressed, those kinds, you're hurried, you're like just in high gear, that is hustle mode. Or if you're like attaching your emotions to hearing the word no, or like we tell our teams not to do that, but we can still get caught up in those things. Or you're attaching your emotions to if your team's responding to or not, or if your team is doing this or not doing this. Like you're constantly looking at what is your team not doing, or what are like those kind of things. That's hustle mode as well. You're not making it about, you're making it too much about you. You're making it too much about the goal you have to reach, the promotion you're trying to reach, the paid at title, the numbers you need to be paid at title, the paycheck you're not going to get this month. So those are all signs of hustle mode. Why is this thing keeps popping up? Get out of here. Okay. Let's see, what else do I, so this is another thing. If you get annoyed or I don't want to say aggressive, but if you get annoyed with your team when you're talking to your team about, like I said, they're not working, or why are they not doing this? That's another sign. So the main fuel for hustle is scarcity. And so if you're feeling scarcity around the things I just said, around a promotion, around numbers you need to hit, around being paid at title, around the number of followers you have, the number of people on your team. If you're feeling scarcity around, or the amount of active frontline, what else did I write down? The amount of money you're or desperate for. If you're feeling scarcity around any of those things, that is what's going to create that hustle. It's going to create a lot of emotion. Like I said, you're going to be hurried, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be feeling rushed and stressed out just constantly, and that is never going to serve you. It's always going to exhaust you, which is going to exhaust your team. So if any of you have ever been in a place where like you feel like your team just stopped working and you have to rebuild, a lot of times that stems from you were in hustle mode and you were putting way too much pressure on them. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on yourself, and then you're putting too much pressure on them because of that. And then you catch yourself having to rebuild your whole team because of it. By then you're exhausted. You have nothing left to rebuild. So hopefully this is making sense. If it is, let me know. Another thing is scarcity. The scarcity mindset and the hustle, it puts you in a mindset that success does not come from within you. Puts you in a mindset that success is coming from your team, or what they're doing or not doing. It puts you in the mindset that is coming from outside circumstances, like who is willing to join, who is saying yes or no, who is willing to party, who is, or maybe it comes from an incentive trip, or it comes from an award. But it's all within you. It's all in your mind. It's all in whether you're treating your business as a business. It's all in what you're allowing into your mind, who you're allowing into your circle, who you're allowing into your boundaries. Are you respecting your own boundaries? Because nobody's going to respect your boundaries if you don't respect your boundaries. So it all comes from within you, and you control everything. You control every outcome in your business. If you're stressed, you brought it on yourself, and you have to realize that. I've had to realize that, and I still have to realize that because I'm an overworker. I'm a workaholic. I've had to control myself and realize like you cannot do all the things. Even when it comes to like holidays, like December was stressful for me because I was trying to do all the things, and I shouldn't have probably tried to do half of the things I did, not business wise, but hold on one second. sorry, we had a referral to a specialist for my son. They're finally calling to schedule appointments. So I had to get my husband to take the call. Yes, Ansley, I love that. She says, focus on the accomplishments and have fun with it. Things can always be done later. Absolutely. So, okay, but what I was saying is I try to do so much and I'm extra. Like, I love to do the extra things, but sometimes I have to realize that it's not worth the headache. It's not worth how I'm going to feel after. And I did really good in my business in December with just resting and doing all these things I was telling y'all to do to like reevaluate everything and just have like a clean slate to start with in January and really figure out like what I wanted my word to be, which is serve. I did really good about all that in my business in December. It was just like being aware of where I was at. I was feeling what I needed to do. And I just kind of rested, but I didn't slack. And there's a difference in that, in resting and in turn slacking in your business because you're just resting and not working. All the interruptions today. It's all good. News tab Spider-Man, yay! That's exciting. Okay. So anyway, there's a difference between resting and setting yourself up to be able to rest. It's not okay to just take the whole month off and not be prepared for that. Like I said, your customers deserve to know what's going on. Your team needs you there to be leading by example and not be MIA. But it's okay to rest if you do it correctly. It's okay to take off if you do it correctly. For me, I set myself up with PR. I knew I had 1,000 PRV from Cincy Club. That took a year to set that up. I set myself up for that with consistency. I knew I had PRV coming in. I knew where it was coming from. I knew what else I needed to do to get that set up. I scheduled out emails. I scheduled out text alerts. I scheduled out whatever I need to schedule out. And I made sure that my team page was running well. Your team page may not run itself yet. It may need you every single day. And I still post in there every single day. But for the most part, my team page runs itself at this point, and that's something you'll create over time. But if it doesn't, you need to delegate. You need to have some leaders take over for you. You need to have them do whatever you need them to do for you. That helps empower them. It helps you. You cannot do everything. So keep that in mind. But that's totally off topic. But anyway, maybe somebody needed to hear that. So I'm trying to think. I don't want to have to say all this stuff because it's going to go so long if I do. So again, you create your success. You're in control of everything that happens in your business. I mean, obviously, except for the things you can't control. Like You can control how many conversations you have with people about joining. You can't control whether they join or not, but you can control what you do. The outcome, you can't always control, but you can control what you do, and you can't control what your team does. You can train them, you can coach them, but whether they take that advice and implement it is up to them. We know that. We can't control our teams, and we cannot motivate our teams. Motivation does not come, just like kind of what I was just saying, it doesn't come from outside sources. It comes from within a person. If the person doesn't have belief and they don't have a purpose for why they're doing this, they have no motivation. If you're trying to find motivation in external circumstances or from trainings, it's going to last about a day and then it's going to go away. So you can't look to me for motivation. You can't look to another superstar for motivation. You can't look to a podcast for motivation. It has to be pulled out of you. It has to come from within you. And all of us are directors and above. We know that. That's why we're here. But we have to realize not everybody has that in them. And that is why some people just don't want to work. Sometimes they don't want to work, but sometimes it's not that. Sometimes you can coach them and pull it out of them that maybe they just don't have belief in themselves. Maybe they have somebody that's been feeding them negativity, or they've been feeding themselves negativity. Like, you have to look. You can't just look at the surface of your team members and say, well, they put in 0, so they just don't want to work. You have to really ask questions. You have to figure out, is it that they just don't want to work, or is it that they are okay and happy and fulfilled with being a hobbyist? Or do they just not believe in themselves and they need to step into that so that they can be the leader that you know they're meant to be? You have to look at each individual person, and you have to develop those leaders and pull that out of them if you see those leadership qualities in people. And that is why I cannot deal when people say that they can't do coaching calls or they won't do coaching calls. Like, you have to do that. It's not optional. If you're trying to grow a big business, it's not optional. It's not, you're doing a disservice to your team if you're not working with them like that. They need that. They need you for that. So you're not just teaching them things, you're helping them, get down to the root of what's going on. Like, it's not the what, it's the why. And I talked about that yesterday, 2 days ago. I keep saying yesterday. You have to do that. You have to coach your team. And if you're not, you've got to find the time. Like, it is, if you're a director, it's not optional. I don't care how it's done. I don't care if it's done in a voice message. I don't care how it's done. It has to be done. So here's another thing. Working your business like a business. All of us are business owners. All Fancy consultants are business owners, but all of us are directors and above. We know we run a business and we're in this for the long haul. And if we're not treating it like a business and we're still treating it like a hobby, that's a problem. And if you don't have, you need set business hours. You need to stick with those hours. If you're not doing this full time yet, you have to have some kind of business hours where you are sitting and focusing on your work. I have to have focused time. Like, my brain can't function when there's a bunch of chaos going on. I cannot sit down and concentrate on getting work done efficiently. Like, that is why I had to send my kid to school when he turned 2, because I could not function. Like, and I was having to work after he went to bed, and that was exhausting. And he needed that anyway. But that was when I had to realize, like, I've got to have focused time. Like, I can't build a 6-figure business with no focused time. So it's so important. I don't care if it's, 30 minutes to an hour, and then you have to move to where you can work in 4-hour windows or something like that. But this was interesting to me. It takes, when you're trying to multitask and do all these things at one time, like, you're just scattered. You can't, it's not sustainable. And that's going to lead to burnout also. So, but I learned that it takes your brain 12 minutes to switch from one activity to the next fully. So think about that, and then think about trying to multitask and do all these things at one time. Like, it literally just creates chaos in your mind, and that's exhausting. It makes your brain feel like it's been working constantly because it's like an overdrive. So it's exhausting. Some more things, and this kind of is like tied into burnout and hustle, but how do you feel when you put your phone down and walk away from it? Do you feel good with that? Like, do you feel like you can do that and be comfortable with that? Or do you feel like you have to be constantly watching it at all times? Do you feel like that? Like, you try to walk away from it, but you're like, your team member messaging me. You got to get to where you can walk away from it and wait until the next day. You can train yourself to either, first of all, put your phone on and do not disturb if you have to. But like, I just had to learn, like, stop looking at it, walk away, and you get in that habit. Just like I had to get myself out of the habit years ago of scrolling first thing when I woke up, scrolling in bed at night. I don't do that anymore. I stopped that years ago because I just was very aware of what it was doing to my mind, how it was setting up my day. I didn't want to do that right before bed either. It helps me sleep better when I'm not on my phone right before bed. So, yeah. How do you feel when you walk away from your phone? You need to get to a place where you can comfortably walk away from your phone and be okay with waiting until the next day. Because you have to know that you worked hard that day. You know, if you did everything you were supposed to do with intention, you can be comfortable in the fact that you worked hard that day, and you deserve to walk away from your phone and the world and everybody who needs you, everybody who's always taking from you. You can walk away from that. So, are you sleeping? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing your personal development? Are you doing your self-care? Are you eating? Because, like, literally, I'll forget to eat. If I ever get into hustle mode or I'm too caught up in my work, I'll forget to eat. So, like, if you need to set an alarm for yourself to eat, then do that. And if you have kids at home, half the time you'll remember to feed your kids, but you won't remember to feed yourself. And then you'll be like, why am I starving? Oh, yeah, I haven't ate, and it's like 2 o'clock. So take care of your body. Your body needs fuel to function. So take care of yourself, whether it's through self-care, whether it's feeding yourself, whether it's working out, going for a walk, whatever you need to do. Create space for rest and hobbies. Hobbies, Cincy is no longer a hobby for us. This is our job. So, you know, all of us started out that Cincy was a hobby for us. It was a happy place for us. It's still a happy place for us. But like, that's all it was. It was a hobby. Cincy's no longer a hobby for us. And when you start to do it full time, if you switch from that, it definitely becomes feeling more like work. If you are the only one in the household working, it definitely only feels like work. And it's work that you enjoy, of course, but you have to have other things for yourself. Like, I know Hannah recently started doing cups, like the cool glittery cups. We do things. We fish, we hunt, what else do we do? I don't know, anything outdoors we love to do. And I finally started taking time for myself to be able to do those things. I was missing a piece that I didn't realize I was missing. I didn't have any hobbies, and that wasn't okay. So I started finally creating time for that. Heather, I didn't know you decorated cakes. I had no idea. I used to do that before Cincy. I know you did that. That's cool. You need to have things you enjoy outside of Cincy, because this is your job. This is like you go to work every day to a 9 to 5, even though I really hope you're not working 9 to 5, because if you are, you're working too much. That's so cool. I love that. I'm excited to see your cakes. Let's see. Already said that. Really be aware of the whole, like what I said about hustling and being too hard on yourself and being too hard on your team. That tends to happen at the end of a month, like the last few days, or the end of an incentive, like the last month, or the last 2 weeks of an incentive. Be aware of those times. If you can just create sustainability, make a good plan for the incentive trip. For one, we're in the last month of an incentive, and I know this is happening with a lot of you probably. Create a good plan, have systems in place that can keep you sustainable with that plan to where you can earn that trip before the last month, where you're not scrounging and stressing yourself out, stressing everybody else out. When I make my plans for incentive trips, for example, I make it for August through December. Like January isn't even in the cards. Like by January, I'm done with the incentive because I'm trying to make sure I earn it ahead of time to where I'm not doing those stressful things. So be aware of that, like at the end of the month. And I know there are times where the end of the month hustle is fine and it's all good and everybody's in a good place. But if you're in a stressed out place and you're like feeling like you're forcing your team to do something and they feel that way, they're going to shut down. And also when you're burnout and you're exhausted and you're projecting that onto them, they are the ones that are going to quit, not you. You're getting paid well. You feel like it's worth it. Your efforts are surpassing your paychecks, but theirs aren't. They feel underpaid if they're exhausted. They feel, this is not worth it. You have to help them see that the process is worth it, first of all, that they can be where you are, but don't burn them out in the process and stress them out and exhaust them and push them away because they're going to quit. They're going to easily quit because they haven't seen the benefits yet. They haven't seen their paychecks start to outweigh the amount of work they do. So that's something else to keep in mind that I had never really thought about until she said that. And I was like, that's good. That's really good. Don't get emotionally attached to the performance of your team. Just like don't get emotionally attached to anything in your business. Don't get emotionally attached to people telling you no. Don't get emotionally attached to somebody joining under somebody else. Get over it. It is what it is. That's what I tell myself. Get over it. Who freaking cares? I just tell myself they didn't connect with me, and that's fine. They connected with that person. It wasn't meant to be. No reason to sit around and stress out over it or be like, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. It just wasn't meant to be that way. Okay. This is what I'm going to leave you with on the last thing that I have under hustle, because it's good. It's so good. So if you find yourself too focused on recruiting and selling rather than fulfilling needs, that's when you need to press pause and regroup. If you find yourself, focused too much on earning an incentive, focus too much on, I need to get 2 recruits. I haven't got a recruit this month. Or I haven't got 2,000 PRV this month. I've got to get these people to buy. You're in that scarcity mindset. You're too focused on those things and you're not focused on fulfilling the needs of others, then you need to regroup and get it together. Yes, you don't have a paycheck without the help of your team. Team should absolutely come first. Absolutely. They're the ones making you your money. So
I have a question if you
okay. So trying to figure out the important things I need to say for the rest of this. With hard work, just some differences. And here's how hard work goes versus all those things about hustle. Hard work is committed to the process. And we talked about this on Tuesday, I believe. Yes, we talked about this on Tuesday in that call. Being committed to the process, living in the gain instead of the gap, not focusing on where you're not at yet and focus on where you are, how far you've come, and focusing on that process and how rewarding that process and that journey is. And not obsessing over, I'm not to this title yet. I'm not to this yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not where this person is yet. It's your journey for a reason. It's not to be compared to anybody else's journey. And reaching a title, earning an incentive trip, reaching a paycheck goal, earning an award, None of those things are going to fulfill you. Because, like I said, success, fulfillment, it's not found in those things. For me, it's found in who I can impact. Making $15,000 to $20,000 in a month does not make me feel any better about myself. Like, you still compare, you still do all these things. It doesn't fix your mindset at all. I wonder if I can unmute you, Tara. Let me see if it'll work.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? La, 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 la.
Yeah, I don't hear you. I see you talking and you're unmuted, but
I have the volume all the way up. Oh, but Bonnie says she can hear me.
Bonnie can hear you. I can hear you.
That's why I
Volume's all the way up,
unmuted it a
too.
few times while I was like when I got to a stop sign.
Maybe somebody can translate or answer.
You heard okay, because you.
I don't know what's going on with my Zoom.
I have like an actual question that I should probably know the answer to, but I'm sure somebody else knows. So I have 2 star consultants. They're my highest consultants, and one dropped down, and she lost her team in December, and I didn't reach out to her. I was so wrapped up in December just trying to keep my life from falling apart that I didn't reach out to her, and I should have. But so she lost her team. If she promotes again, I know that drops her down to certified consultant, but if she promotes again, she does not regain her team, correct? Like, there's no way that her team. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm afraid because she lost her team and she's advertising something else online, and so I think, I feel like I've lost her, and I feel like it was my fault.
I think you're done talking. I couldn't hear you, but they're trying to tell me what you said.
Yeah.
And they're trying to answer you. So you said a star consultant lost her team. She does start over. She doesn't get her team back. That's why they do that. That's why they do that, because it eliminates those people who aren't leading and gives those teams to people who are leading. And sometimes it sucks. I don't know the situation because I couldn't hear what you were saying, but you don't need me to answer. You've got everybody's helping you out. I just wish I could hear you. Sorry if I've been talking over you too. Like, I don't know when you're talking or when you're not. But anyway, I love, such good advice. Read the chat. Same thing I would have said. So with hard work, like I said, staying focused on the process, staying focused on fulfilling needs, but doing it sustainably, doing it with systems, doing it consistently and sustainably. Because if you're consistent, if you have systems in place, that allows you to be consistent, which allows you to be sustainable. So, you can't sustain hustle, but you can sustain structured systems and 3 tasks a day versus 18 tasks a day. It just keeps the balance, and that's like the one way I can think to keep balance, because balance is hard. There's different aspects of balance, but it's hard to create that. But that is the one thing that can create balance, because then I'm working these 4 hours, the rest of the day I'm with my family, or whatever your day looks like. For me, I don't start work until 10, because I get up at 6. I take an hour to get my workout done. Then I cook breakfast for Carson, and he eats while I get ready. It takes me until about 8:30. At that point, it's about 7:30, so it takes me about till 8:30 to get ready. Then I take him to school. his drop-off's at 9. I come home and I'll like spend time with my husband a little bit, or I'll vacuum or do dishes or whatever random task. And then I start my day at 10. And when I start my day, that is when I'm checking messages, I'm checking emails, like I'm responding to notifications and all that stuff. So it takes like 30 minutes just to do that. And then I do my work, and I work no later than 4. And sometimes I will, take a break to go do something that we need to do, and I'll come back and finish or whatever. Like, it's not always just 10 to 4. A lot of times it's 10 to 12 and then 2 to 4. Like I only work 4 to 6 hours a day, max, 5 days a week. So that's what my personal day looks like, just so that you know that the bigger your team gets doesn't mean you're supposed to work more. You have to work differently the bigger your team gets. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about when I say your work is, or your paycheck is far surpassing your work, the amount of work you're doing. The fact that I made $153,000 last year working 4 to 6 hours a day, like, are you freaking kidding me? Who can do that? We are so blessed. So blessed. And the fact that that grows every year, it doesn't just stay there. That is a blessing. So with hard work also, this is all stuff I pretty much said. Hard work focuses on efficiency and focus, intentionality, daily rhythms, habits in place, knowing what your income producing activities are and making those a priority. Comes from a place of not looking to outside circumstances to meet our needs. You look to yourself because you know you're in control of your success. You know you're in control of your business, and that helps you to take ownership over your business and take responsibility for your successes and for your failures, what you're not doing, what you are doing, what you should be doing, what you need to change, those kind of things. If you're not willing to look at yourself and say, like, this is your fault, you brought this on yourself, and it's up to you to fix it. It's up to you to change it, and not feel sorry for yourself, not blame everybody else. If you're not willing to do that, then you've got to fix that, because you're a business owner. You are a business. You are your business. So you have to be willing to do that. Value your family time. You value and respect your family time. You know you worked hard, and you can walk away from your phone, put your phone down, go on about your day. And I'm not saying you have to put your phone down for the rest of the day. I'm just saying put your phone down work-wise for the rest of the day. You prioritize your self-development. You put back money for your business. Like, you invest in your business. You know that you should be investing in certain things. You're keeping your business separate from your personal, separating those things. These are all hard work things. You're purpose driven rather than performance driven. So you're more worried about, what is my purpose? How am I making an impact? Who am I helping today? Who am I blessing today? What kind of influence am I having on my team today? Those kind of things. How can I add value to these customers' lives today? You're focused on those things, not on what your team is, who's putting in 200, who's putting in 500, who's sitting at 0. I don't even look at 0. Like, I don't look at will cancel reports. Never have. Because it's just I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the people who are working. I'm focused on the things that are going great in my business. I'm not focused on what is not happening in my business, what is not going great. I could look at everyone who's not paid at title and say, if all these people were paid at title, I would make like 4 times the amount of money that I make. Those are not the things you need to be doing. You need to be focused on how far you've come, what you're blessed with right now. Be grateful for that, and be grateful for the people who are working, and then work with those people and build them, develop them into the leaders that they were meant to be. So also, you have you allow rest, you allow hobbies, you have balance, you have high self-worth, because you're not seeking it from outside circumstances. You're not seeking it from a sponsor recognizing you. You're not seeking it from Cincy recognizing you. You're not seeking it from, if I make this much money, I'll have made it, or I will feel better about myself. It's not gonna happen. You have to know your worth, and you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You can't look to anyone else to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to cheer for yourself. You have to clap for yourself and be proud of yourself, and not look for that in someone else. Don't look for that in your spouse. Don't look for that in your mom. Don't look for that on social media. There's going to be a lot of people who aren't proud of you and who don't understand what you're doing. But you have to be proud of yourself. Clap for yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. So obsess over the process and detach from the income. Detach from that too, though. Obsess over the process and detach from the outcome, and also detach from the income, because I accidentally said that, but it's true. Approach your business from a place of, instead of I need to do this, I have to do this, approach it from a place of I get to do this. We are blessed. I get to do this. I get to sit at home and do this. I get to have choices for my family. I get to have flexibility. It doesn't have to be this way. I could still be sitting in a dentist office complaining about my back hurting every day and having to deal with 8 patients a day back to back, burning myself out every day because I was going. So approach it from a place of I get to do this. How can I serve? Like I said, how can I add value? How can I help these people? What is my purpose? What can I do today to help somebody? What can I do today to add value to somebody's life? Who can I coach today to help them move forward? So when you're in that mindset, it changes everything. And I know that all of us are here to serve others and to help others, but it's so, like I said, it's so easy to get caught up in, but I haven't reached this goal. Oh, but I'm so close and I need to do this and that. But I need to do, like I need this, I need that. But just stay willing to reflect on if your mind is shifting that way. Because it will continue to happen. Like I said, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter any of that. It's going to continue to happen. You just have to shift your mindset back to where it needs to be. So, I think that's about it. But just remember, I think the most important thing is to stay mindful of where your energy is at. Like, stay mindful of how you feel at the end of the day or at the end of the week. And, stay mindful of, am I energized because I'm fulfilled? Am I happy about the work that I did? Or do I feel like I worked 30 hours this week and nothing got done? And I'm just exhausted and mentally exhausted and tired. If you are that way, that's when you need to do all the things we talked about, reevaluate things, reevaluate your systems, delegate, eliminate, figure out what is actually important for you to do as a leader. Like maybe you're trying to do 4 trainings a week and there's not enough time in your life for you to do that. And you need to cut it back to one training a week, like I had to do. For a long time, I was doing 4 trainings a week, 4 live trainings a week for my team. And it was only me. I wasn't having guest speakers. It was me. And like my tank was just like drained. I would get to the point where I'm like, what do I even train about anymore? Like, what do I even talk about? So, I had to point that out and realize like, I don't have the time for that. So I still invest in my team in doing one valuable monthly training. And then I may do like random pop-in lives throughout the month, but they're not scheduled. They're on my time. And then I have the leadership calls. So keep in mind your energy. Just really pay attention to your energy and be aware of that. So like I said, scarcity is the fuel for hustle, and purpose and self-sufficiency and fulfillment is the fuel for hard work, which is what's going to lead to consistency, sustainability, growth, success, freedom, all those things. So, when you switch from a hustle mindset to a hard work mindset, you're still going to feel like you're working hard. You may be afraid that, oh my gosh, if I get out of the hustle mode, I'm not going to feel like I'm doing anything. But you're going to feel like you did something, like you accomplished something, like you did good work because you did the right things and you did them intentionally. And guess what? You're not exhausted at the end of the day. Another thing that leads to exhaustion, like I was burning myself out through coaching calls because I was doing too many of them. So there's a balance with everything. Like I was trying to do 3 coaching calls a day versus 2 a day. I was trying to do them, you know, let people schedule them 5 days a week instead of just on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So I have a limit. I only do weeks 2 and 3. Like week 2 for me is a coaching, training, non-income producing work week. Like I'm doing coaching and training, which yes are important, but the non-income producing things is like just the businessy tasks. Like I'm doing inventory, I'm budgeting, I'm ordering my supplies for the month, like all those things that have to be done from a business perspective as the manager of your business. Those are the things I'm doing in week 2. And then trainings and planning content for those trainings, because that's time consuming too. Planning the content for them, doing the trainings, doing coaching calls. And then I also do coaching calls in week 3, but I'm not doing all the training and all that stuff in week 3. So it's a little more chill. So I finally found that balance of like, because if I was doing 3 coaching calls a day, and then I was also doing them on the days that I'm also doing a training, I would just be like drained. By the time I got my kid home from school, I'd be drained. I'd be exhausted because it's just mentally exhausting to me to pour into that many people for that amount of time in one day. It's just too much for me. I don't know if it's because I'm an introvert, I don't know, but it just was draining me, and I was aware of that. So, you know, you have to find that balance with everything. But once you find that balance, it's so freeing. It feels so good. If you're not there yet, if you are, I'm so proud of you. If you're not, I hope this gave you some tips, some ideas, things you can do to help, you know, manage your business better, manage your mental health better, maybe take more time with your family, realize that that's the important thing that you need to be focused on, not so much just working all the time. So, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay. All righty. Well, I would ask if anybody has anything to add or ask any questions, but I can't hear you. So this is where we're at. But I hope y'all got something out of this. Thank y'all for hanging in here with me. I know it's been over an hour, which is not a surprise. But I love y'all. I hope y'all know that. I love y'all so much. Couldn't do this without y'all. And y'all have a great rest of your day.